Raw jackfruit is pickled for year-long use. It's pickled in two ways. One way is to put it in between lots of rock salt. The raw jackfruit over time gives out water and gets preserved in the salt water. Other way is to make concentrated salt water by boiling rock salt in water. Boil it very well, cool it down, and once it cools down, put the raw jackfruit pods into the water. Very mature raw jackfruits are used because if they are slightly tender too, they start to disintegrate in the salt water over time or sometimes within few days too. They shouldn't also start to soften or ripen. Even then they'll disintegrate very easily. You can use ceramic jars, glass jars or any bottles that you have. If you pickle in smaller bottles or jars, then you can shake it using your hands. Shake it at least once a day so that the salt gets mixed well with all the jackfruit pods. Otherwise, they tend to go bad very fast. Shake it at least for 4 days, the first 4 days continuously. If you're using bigger ceramic jars like the ones you see here, then use a spoon or a frying ladle or your hand to mix them up once every day. Make sure your hands are dry and no amount of moisture gets into the jar. If you happen to use salt water, then you don't have to mix it because the jackfruit pods will anyways be dipped in the salt water. When you store it in a place where there's no air exposure so that it doesn't spoil, and make sure it is airtight. The top is tightly sealed. You can store them for about a year or more and make all kinds of dishes you want to using them. If you're using them after a while of pickling, then on the day you intend to use them, dip them in fresh water to get all the extra salt out of them. You can use them within 2 to 3 days of pickling if they're thin pods, after 7 to 8 days of pickling if they're thicker pods. If you're using rock salt to pickle, add enough after every handful of raw jackfruit you add so that they don't spoil. If you use more salt, it's okay. Even if a little less salt you add will spoil the jackfruit.